Clashes have broken out between Israeli forces and Ethiopian Israeli protesters in Tel Aviv. At least 16 protesters have been arrested. Demonstrators marched from a central square in Tel Aviv, blocking roads around it. This is the latest demonstration by the Ethiopian community against what they call discrimination by Israeli authorities. The rallies broke out last month after footage was released showing a police officer beating a soldier of Ethiopian descent. Anger mounted on Monday after the Attorney General decided not to prosecute the police officer who beat the soldier. The protesters say the decision shows that Ethiopians in Israel have no basic human rights. Joining us now via Skype from London is Gilad Atzmon. He's an author and political commentator. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, Mr. Atzmon. Now, first of all, after the PR stunts we saw by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting the Ethiopian Israeli who was beaten in that video that first emerged, it was hoped that more will be done to tackle the situation. Why do you think the decision was made not to prosecute those soldiers who were beating up that Ethiopian?
I cannot really comment on it. Obviously, I'm not part of the decision, but I think that the entire situation is very, very clear. We can see that Israel is institutionally a racist state. This is the Jewish state, and it's institutionally racist. What is so interesting here, for years we are aware of racism against Palestinians, against Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Muslims, against Arabs for years, and now we see the way Israel treats, how harsh Israel is towards its African migrant communities. What is so unique here is that we see how Israel, the brutality of the Israeli police force, and to a certain extent the regime, towards people who are Israeli citizens and Jewish. And why? Probably because they are black. The Israeli society is a very hierarchic society, and it is the whiteness that defines your status within that society. So if you are a Russian or East European or even European Ashkenazi Jew, you are within the hegemony of that society, and the more black you are, the lower you are within this hierarchic society. This is very, very disturbing. But there is only one way to explain it. I believe that this racist culture is deeply engraved within Jewish secular thinking. It is quite depressing to witness.
All right, so now that the protests have re-erupted on the streets of Tel Aviv, what more do you think can happen? Will there be more tensions in Tel Aviv?
It is very possible. If a society is institutionally racist, it cannot really resolve these issues by political means or through police force, policing or legislation. If a society is institutionally racist, the only thing that it can do is to look in the mirror and to uproot these cultural tendencies. And this will take time, and I'm not so sure that the Israeli society is capable of doing it.
Well, it's not just about the Israeli society, though, now, is it? It's the Israeli government as well. It's a more right-wing government, which will just reinforce some of these disparities within the society.
I wouldn't relate these issues with the Ethiopian to the current government. Since the arrival to this country in the early 90s, these people, the Falashi Jews, were treated harshly. We know that their blood wasn't accepted. They used to bin their blood donation. We know that their women were sterilized. It is very, very concerning, and it is not something that is necessarily connected with this right-wing government. In fact, we have a good reason to believe that actually this right-wing government may actually, because of their their obsession with Jewishness, may have to take some serious measure to correct this specific problem. But
All right.
it's not the current government.
All right, let's leave it there for now. That's author and political commentator Gilad Atzmon, who joins us via Skype from London. Mr. Atzmon, many thanks indeed for your comments here on Press TV, sir.